Hello, my friend. It's me, Danielle Frank, on After Hours for Beauty Uncovered, sponsored by Olaplex. I am coming off of a very exciting day yesterday. I just got back from Orlando Premiere, which is the international beauty show. It is one of the largest ones in the nation. Actually, I think it might be the largest one. So many attendees. I haven't been there in 2 years. I haven't been there. So I've been really excited about this. It's only an hour away from my house. So, it's the perfect one to go to. Normally, I am working one of the booths there, giving education, but this time I went just to enjoy the moment and be a part of it. And I had some really interesting observations. Now, for context, for any of you that are not professionals, and are just kind of curious about what this all is. The Orlando Premiere and any hair show. Well, this is not just hair show, it's beauty. So we have a lot of hair, a lot of skin, nails, estheticians, makeup, you name it. I've seen even stuff for tattoos and permanent eye makeup and lashes. You name it, it's there. I actually was really fascinated because they had classes there about introducing certain services that you could do for sexual health. That was a little weird. I didn't expect to read that in the brochure, but there it was. But yeah, it was some really fascinating things. But when you're walking in through these shows, I mean, you have the main stages where you have these magnificent performers, but they also happen to be professionals. So they're giving education, they're giving inspiration, they're showing trends, they're really giving value to all of us professionals. So this way we can pass that on to you. But then on top of that, we have a whole separate area, which is all of our vendors. Now, in the vendors, totally crazy loud, crowded. I do think the audience is probably sometimes more exciting to watch than even some of the people on stage because they are extra. They are over the top in the way they dress. They are there to impress, but also to really get to know all the different brands that are out there and some of the great innovation that is going on in the industries. As a person that is normally on the hair side, it was really exciting to me to be able to go over to the skin area where I was learning about different masks that are out there, different technology to really help with your skin and hydrate or acne. Then there were the nails. I will never forget the first time I was at a beauty show, and it was, I don't know how many years back, when I first started seeing the powder dip nails. I don't know how many of you have ever had that. That is all I get. I get powder dip. I love it. I absolutely love it. And the first time I saw that was at a beauty show. It was so cool to see. So we're getting all of these different great techniques and innovation that's out there in beauty and be able to share it with you later. And just for context as well, a lot of these professionals, and these are your hairdressers, your estheticians, your nail techs, all of them, makeup artists, they're going to these shows and they're going on their own dime. And they do this so they can provide a service for you that's elevated. There's not a lot of industries that I can think of where you're licensed and you don't necessarily have to get this education, but you are continually searching it. You're continually updating it. And it costs a pretty penny. I'm not even going to pretend. But it was exciting to go. But there were some differences on this particular show in comparison to other shows in the past few years. I mean, obviously not in the past two. And I wonder if this is going to get me in trouble. I don't care if it gets me in trouble. The truth is, this is just my personal observation. I went there walking through, and I didn't see certain things that I have seen only in the past, I would say 4 to 5 years of the last times that I've been. at the hair shows. Normally, when we go there, there are some perennial artists and hairdressers that are on the main stage, that are on the smaller stages, even that are giving their education, their talent, their inspiration, the trends that are going to be coming. A lot of it comes from these brilliant artists, right? And they inspire me all the time. For context, think Vidal Sassoon. A lot of us know who Vidal Sassoon. If you're an older generation like myself or older, you might remember that Vidal Sassoon had their shampoo, and they'll tell their two friends and so on and so on. It was, a big cultural thing. And Vidal Sassoon, in all honesty, was brilliant. His techniques for precision were what I cut my teeth on. Those were the things that I learned from the very beginning. And I was very lucky to have educators from his organization teach me as well. So I am always inspired by people like that. And those are the kind of people that come on there. I'm sure there's professionals that come onto this podcast as well. I'm thinking Nicholas French, who to me, when I see him, think Fashion Week, those absolutely outrageous outfits that we see in Fashion Week and people are walking down. I'm not saying I'm going to wear those fashions, but there are snippets of it that will inspire something that's more, everyday life, right? So Nicholas French was the kind of guy that would do these absolutely outrageous hair. Just fantastical. And it was like watching magic. And he would do this whole runway and they would be walking back and forth. And you'd just be like, it defies gravity. It defies imagination. And this is the stuff that would inspire us. And he was always so incredibly generous in giving the education and showing techniques. And I'm trying to think, Tabitha Coffey, a lot of you would know who she is. She's been on television. She's done some great reality shows and shows in general. Robert Chromians, who I think a lot of you may know of him. He does a fantastic presentation on stage that is audacious and daring, but at the same breath comes out with these brilliant results where you sit there going, how is this even possible? Tracy Cunningham. I mean, any of you that follow any of the celebrity hairstylists out there, Tracy Cunningham is the queen. She is the queen. And so many hairstylists that are well recognized in the industry have come from her. So she does all the big stars. And that is always some of the most inspiring things that I've always looked forward to. Over the years, though, sometime in the past decade, I would say, social media had really had its rise. And from that, we had some really incredibly talented hairdressers that were not necessarily like these performers, because as much as they were brilliant hairdressers and educators, and they really taught us something of value, they were also showmen. And you do have to have a certain quality of showmanship to get on that big stage, kind of like theater, right? So in social media, we had people that were a little bit more comfortable, I would say, behind the camera, maybe having a little more control of their image and how they present themselves. And they were giving education as well on the day-to-day. That was exciting to see as well. I mean, for us to have that kind of opportunity was thrilling. Does it take away from what we were doing at the shows? No. The shows, there's a big difference between when you're doing something online and something that's in person, for sure, especially when you can ask a question and get an immediate answer. But what was fascinating is that over the years, you would start to see some of these wonderful, influential social media education experts coming in. They would come on the stage here and there. Some of them were very successful, some of them moderately so, but it was delicious to see them on there and we would get excited. They had huge followings, and that was always exciting to see someone that you saw on the daily, right? Then on top of that, we had the hairdressers that maybe they weren't comfortable with giving education or they just didn't want to, and that's their right. But they were giving their artistry, and their artistry were those gorgeous hair pictures that we see on Pinterest or on Instagram or any of those social channels where we're just looking at that hair and going, oh, that is stunning. The updos that, none of us can recreate because, we see it. It's inspiring. It's incredible to look at. I love it. But they weren't giving education on it. And that's fine. It was exciting. And they would also come in, and it was different. It was almost like they were walking through, and there was almost like an entourage that would follow suit along with them. And again, I'm not trying to take away from the value that they have. Anybody that's going on social media and doing entertainment or showing us pictures is giving value to our day-to-day lives. And I have such gratitude for that. But at the hair shows, it was just a little bit different in the sense that I found that a lot of the people that would go on stage, maybe not necessarily were as comfortable doing the social media, where the people that were on social media might have not have been as comfortable going on stage. So they were coming into this venue that was normally for stage, and we were excited to see them, of course. And I didn't think anything of it until I went yesterday, where I noticed there was a distinct absence of the social media darlings that we're very used to seeing, those perennials that were showing up for the past several years. I didn't see any of them. And I thought it was just me. And I actually went to a few different booths to say hello to some old friends. And I asked them, have you seen so-and-so, this one, that one? Have you seen any of those social media influencers that are in our industry? And they're like, no, that's really funny that you're mentioning that. I was noticing that they weren't there. Interesting. Now, I have no idea why that is. I'm not sure if it matters, in all honesty. But what was fascinating to me was that it kind of put the focus back on these people that we only get to see every once in a while. Those people that bring us magic in person, that give us that education, and we are able to speak about trends instead of what's changing on the daily. A lot of the trends that we would see were so far-sighted in the sense of forward thinking. That's a better word. It was so forward thinking that sometimes we would watch it and not really comprehend how this is going to affect our daily lives and work until maybe 6 months down the line. To give an example, my former boss once went to a show. Actually, it was in the UK. It was in England. And I remember him coming back, and he was showing us video of the different things he was seeing. And this was years ago. And he was showing that at the time, they were showing off a lot of pastels, that these pastels were in blonde hair. They were using them as highlights, that it was going to be normalized, that people were going to be using these fashion colors. And I remember thinking at this time, though I thought it was super cool, I'm like, this isn't going to be normalized. Like, this is not something you're going to see on the street. This is like crazy. And lo and behold, they were just forward thinking. They knew this is what was coming. This was the forecasting. So it was exciting to get back to some of those industry greats. And again, it's looking at, like I said, Fashion Week. I put it to that, almost like to that level, where you have these brilliant designers that come on there and they're showing what they're going to be predicting for the next season. And no, not every single thing are you going to wear on the day-to-day. But there tends to be some trends in there. There tends to be some kind of inspiration that's inspired by that and drawn out and brought into our daily lives. Or some of it is directly, for sure. So these hair shows, in many ways, are these artists that are the trendsetters. They are the trendsetters. And I feel like sometimes us on social media, we're just kind of trying to keep up sometimes. So it is interesting. I'm curious to see how the rest of the show season goes and how people are reacting. And again, I'm not throwing shade on anybody. If anything, I have equal appreciation for all genres of when it comes to the professional service and professional education and even just inspiration. All of it has value. It's just different. It's just different. And sometimes when something gains a lot of popularity, the other one's light dims a tiny bit. I'm not saying completely, but a tiny bit. And then, that pendulum, it swings, then it goes the other way. So I'm curious to find out if a lot of people feel as though we're going to start seeing the rise of the onstage professional, that educator. I would say the rise of education focus, and I'm going to say the fall. I don't think it's the fall of the social media influencer, but maybe the dimming of it. Let me know. You can email me at beautyuncovered@olaplex.com. Or if you want to go on any of my social channels, I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, I think, definitely YouTube. And you can go on to any of the comments and tell me your opinion. You can look for me at Danielle E. Frank. So that is what my handles are. And I would love to hear your opinion. Just remember, on my platforms, we're always kind. Kindness is always the way to go. So with that being said, I'm going to go and try to come down from the loud noises that come from these shows and relax a little bit. And I can't wait to hear from all of you, about those of you that actually go to the shows. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm always interested about what you have to say. And also, if you haven't had a chance, be sure to subscribe, rate us. Please write a review. It helps us get the word out, and we're doing fantastic. And it's exciting for me to watch. And it's all because of you and all of you that are out there sharing. And I appreciate you. Thank you.